Rosebud.
God.
What?
Nothing.
Welcome back. And welcome back to the Do We Have To crew for another wonderful episode of Do We Have To, a marriage podcast. I am your host, Sean.
I'm Emily.
It is a Not Actual Family Studios production. Executive producer, Colin Schmedium Maskell.
Oh, we were
the one,
so
the
close.
only. What? Was that almost like a perfect delivery? But you didn't
really,
like the Schmedium?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I thought we were going to do it without any...
You know, I've actually started putting Schmedium by Colin's name in all of our social posts as well as anything to do with YouTube. And if I have it my way, once Buzzsprout, because Buzzsprout wants us to put our headshots and bio information in that, I will get them to add a quotation Schmedium in between Colin's name.
Colin would... I think Colin would quit.
Colin would quit and leave all that money he's making?
He's not making any money.
Yeah, I know. It's probably costing him money, honestly.
Dealing with us, probably a lot more than money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But with that being said, guys, we have a wonderful show today. Emily and I are going to get back at it. You know, we had a lot of positive feedback on last week's episode where we tackled kind of the point where we were at pretty much our lowest as a couple. Mm-hmm. It'd been a long time heading into the direction of negativity and toxicity in our relationship. And that kind of came to a head.
Right.
And we were on the verge of getting divorced, I think. And I think you would agree with that, right? That's kind of where we left that last week.
Absolutely.
And today we're really going to focus on what happened, what occurred, both, I think, sheer luck and divine intervention, also with our ability to finally get out of it and pivot away and start heading towards a positive direction.
With some hiccups here and there, yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? I think everybody just thinks, oh, Sean and Emily were doing the show. They had some shit go down. And then they were just like this. And that's not the reality of improvement in anything you do. I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but anytime I've seen a graph of, even if it's athletic performance, improvement looks like this. As long as it's trending in that direction, you can. Right. But you are going to have dips and you're going to have highs.
And we go from really great highs to some really bad lows and back.
I just think now where we're at, the dips are just much lower and manageable, and we know how to get through them. And I think that's what I'm hoping for when we talk about this today, for anybody who's going through this or anybody who's in a relationship. I mean, these are even things you can deal with a friendship. For a lot of very close friendships are very similar to marriage, and you have your ups and your downs. And I think hopefully they can learn from a lot of our mistakes and then a lot of things that we've fallen into that will benefit just the general person that's listening to the show. Yeah. Yeah. And then on top of that, though, we're going to not only talk about depressing things and some happy things, we are also going to have our first Sour Patch Kids moment that was actually provided by Do We Have To crew members.
I know.
We got three
I'm so
of them
excited.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting. They're really funny. We did read them. I know I always say I don't read them because I want to respond to them, but we felt inclined to read them prior, and we really did enjoy them. They were very funny. We're going to also do another round. Well, I guess we're on our second round of Let's Get Deep, but we're going to be doing Deep Card, which is our second part of the three.
Last week we did Icebreaker.
That's right. And then we're going to jump right back into right after I get out of the hospital and we're at that point where I move back into the house.
Yeah.
Which wasn't really a decision we made. We got thrown into that decision based on some life events that occurred, which we'll talk about in a little deeper detail. But that was a very critical, now looking back on it, moment, especially now that we're kind of rehashing this for the show. I'm like, holy shit, if that doesn't happen, you know, I'm dealing with probably another daddy walking around.
No, absolutely not. We have said this privately before, but if we don't ever work out for whatever
we
reason,
say that now that we've worked through the process of being...
I've said it for years. I will never get married again. I
agree with that.
I don't want to do this with anyone else, and I...
Love getting engaged. Only want to be married once. I'm so into getting
only
engaged.
got engaged once, only got married once, and that's it for me. I don't even want to go. I don't want to go in the dating pool again. That
song idea,
awful.
Taylor Swift. I'm in my engaged era, which I did live in my early 20s.
You did. That is, you took advantage.
Now I get to tag Taylor on our episode, which is great. Thank you. That worked out really well. Anyway, so I guess let's just jump right into it. Right. Let's talk about our Sour Patch Kid moments, because now we don't have to talk about Maeve being horrible to us, that's new. That's fresh. So
I mean, she's still having them.
Oh, well,
I just need to keep a tally.
She told me this morning I wasn't allowed to stare at her in the bathroom. And she made me feel like a fucking creeper when she did it too. She's like,
she told
I'm
me
in the bathroom. Why are you staring at me?
She told me the other day that I'm nicer
hair.
than you.
She said, I'm nicer than you? She is a fucking emotional
No, that
bitch.
I'm nicer than you. Like, she's like, Mommy. I was like, yes, honey. And she goes, you're nicer than Daddy.
Is that what she said?
Okay.
Wow, you just decided to bring that up on TV, huh?
I'm sorry. I thought you knew.
No.
You were like right
you
there.
Thought I knew that she preferred you over me? I mean, I guess I knew that.
We were all together. I thought you heard her.
When did she say that? Was that at Painted Tree?
No, we were downstairs with Papa Ron watching the game.
Oh, yeah, but I was probably fucking with her a bunch.
Probably.
Which is just normal.
You do like to poke the bear.
I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Why don't we start out with the first one? I apologize.
Yeah, so our Sour Patch Kid moments, you guys can continue to send those in to us.
I don't know what to do with my cord.
I don't know what to do with my
I don't know what to do with my hand.
You can send those to us on dowehavето.com. You can submit them through our form.
Good job. I didn't even think about that.
Or you can also still tag us through hashtag Sour Patch Kid moments on our socials, which we'll list later. But for right now, our first one comes from Kendra. And her Sour Patch Kid moment is at a dinner party. One of the guests was nursing a baby. Our friend's 4-year-old had never seen this and stared at the nursing mother and her baby intently. Then asked the lady what she was doing. The nursing mother said, I'm giving my baby some milk. To which the 4-year-old boy replied, does the other one have orange juice?
I think that's hilarious. And that's actually logical thinking.
That's legit. You're at a restaurant, there's a soda machine. They all have different flavors.
Yeah. You have white cows for white milk, brown cows for brown milk. We all grew up with that understanding. I mean, why wouldn't you have orange juice?
Right.
I imagine Uncle Jeff, because Uncle Jeff has a very specific breakfast routine. I'm pretty sure, right? He likes his coffee, water, and then milk. I bet he was a kid that was like, yeah, one of those boobs got coffee, one of those boobs got milk, definitely.
I can't.
Probably.
Next.
Shout out, Brenda. Love you.
Oh my God. No.
Well, I assume he meant, his mom.
I know, but no, absolutely
I love Mr.
not.
And Miss Meyer, the two
Oh,
best
I'm
people in the
so
whole
sorry. I'm so sorry.
It felt right to mention them.
I can't. The next one is coming to us from Texas Pete. Highly doubt that's real.
That is not his real name.
Anyways, first of all, I want to say this one.
I love Texas people, though. I love that you have so much pride in your state because I'm embarrassed by our roads on a morning basis. So
I love
I'm not gonna
Kansas City.
Oh, I love Kansas City, but I'm not going to call myself Missouri Sean, not until I don't hit a fucking pothole every 2 feet that I
They're
drive.
not potholes. They are sinkholes.
Yeah, they're just cracks.
They are going to swallow a car hole.
Politicians in Missouri, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. The fact you can't even have functioning roads in this town, and you guys tax us endlessly. And if you live in Kansas City, you have an additional 1% tax. Fix the fucking roads. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. He says, many years ago, putting my toddler daughter to bed, she looked at me and asked when we were going to another dying party. I was a bit taken aback and asked her what she meant. In a very forward way, she said, where someone is in the box and everybody brings food and we tell stories. Then it occurred to me the number of funerals we'd been to that year.
We talked about this. I'm going to always refer to it as I want somebody when they go to my funeral to call it, this is Sean's
a dying party. Absolutely. I'm stealing this from your daughter. She is spot on a new trend. Hashtag dying parties.
And the way she looks at it, like it's an event of I know they say celebration of life. I always hate that.
No.
Yeah. You fucking died. You did it. You made it through life. We're going to fucking celebrate that. We're going to talk about the things that we enjoyed about you, and we're going to eat some good food.
Yes. And I'm so sorry for all of your losses. That can't
sorry
be.
For your losses. Yes.
Texas Pete, we're very sorry. We'll
Texas
keep you and yours in our thoughts and prayers.
Was really thinking about him there on that.
But
easy on the microphone there, lady.
I don't realize that I'm doing it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know that your daughter realizes how healthy it is to look at funerals.
Yeah, no kidding.
In that manner, because that is.
I say for most kids that would be a scary thing, or you're dealing with death for the first time.
Right.
Let's have a dying party.
I don't know that there needs to be a theme song.
Maybe that could be a Chapel Rowan could do a badass dying party song. I guarantee you. Chapel, think about it.
Okay. The next one is coming to us from Gentra. And she says that I was at a Taco Bell the other day and a lady had a little boy who looked to be around 2 or 3 years old.
Nice.
She leaned over and whispered something to him, and he responded in that totally kid volume voice, "No, mommy, I don't need to go to the bathroom." She does this again in a couple of minutes with the same response. Finally, she does this again, and the little guy pulls his pants down right there and says, "Look, mommy, it's just farts." I thought we were all going to die laughing, and mommy just about died.
Proof's in the pudding.
Gendra, there is probably not a boy mom anywhere on this planet who has not had something similar happen. So,
and Seamus walks around in his, like, when he gets home from school,
his clothes immediately come off,
and he's in his underwear.
Yeah,
I think if he could, he's like Bert Kreischer on steroids. Like, I think he would do all of like comedian who takes his shirt off. Really, I think he's funny. He does that podcast, Two Bears in a Cave, as well as, I don't really watch his stand-ups, but he did a movie because
is he the Russian guy?
He's a guy whose life is actually, when they made the movie Van Wilder,
they
based that off his time at Florida State. Well, he's not Russian. He took a Russian class. He went overseas.
Right. And he ended
up becoming friends with
from the Russia mob or whatever.
Well, I think that's the movie. But like, he became friends with Russian gangsters.
Yeah.
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 Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Seamus likes to be comfortable.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah. And our nephew...
Doesn't mean we don't constantly yell at him and put some clothes on, especially during the winter time.
Our nephew has been known to go to the bathroom outside. So, backyard playtime.
Oh, really?
I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, there's a tree.
You gotta go. There's plenty of adults that have had popped a couple cans, and they're in the backyard, and it's getting late. And it's like, you know what? It's dark. I'm just gonna go just over here in the bush real quick.
The first time I was actually what are we doing here? Football camp a couple of summers ago when Seamus was on it.
Yeah.
There's anywhere to go, and there's just hundreds of kids all over the field playing football. And then you see these boys run into the woods. Oh, yeah. You're what are they doing?
Yeah, especially out at San Rafael. There's no.
They're going to the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have porta potties, but they're all the way across. Well, they're not all the way across it's super.
You're not going to fit in a porta potty and pads and all of that. Crap.
Yeah, absolutely you could, but it's a long way away. It's a lot quicker to just go take a pee in the woods.
Yeah, girls don't have that luxury.
I mean, you could go in the woods. You just have to squat instead of just stand up against the pee and be guarded by the trees.
I don't want to.
Well, I don't know. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is too that was interesting. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
I was just going to say thank you for sending in your Sour Patch Kid moments, because those were good ones.
They were great, and I was going to say also, I hardly ever hear about anybody hanging out and eating in a Taco Bell anymore. Most fast food places, you just don't see that many people unless there's a playground, which Taco Bell doesn't really have those. They have a resort, but they don't have a playground in most of their stores.
A resort?
Yeah, they have a resort down in Florida. You can stay in a Taco Bell resort.
No, they don't.
I'm not fucking kidding you. Shout out Taco Bell, adding you to our thing as well. Yeah, there's a hotel, a Taco Bell hotel. I believe it's in Florida. I could be wrong though.
I can't.
Yeah. You get to know new things every day, just like our wonderful Do We Have to crew is going to get to know us a little bit better by playing the wonderful game called Let's Get Deep. Mm-hmm. It's a game that's by Relatable. You're fine. Hey, there's 2 camera angles. They can see it. Hey, put your card up too. We'll just do it at the same time. Bam, bam. Yeah. Let's Get Deep. It's by a company called Relatable, who did What Do You Meme? Never played it. Don't plan on playing it. No offense, Relatable. But this game is used in the show Love is Blind.
Mm-hmm. Which we are so far behind on.
We're only 1 season behind. There's been 8 seasons. 2. We're on 7.
We just started 7.
So we're on the second to last season that's available. And essentially on the show, you don't actually see the person you end up potentially proposing to. And you have to get to know each other, and you have to do all that process, right? They use this is one of the games they use to break the wall down, deep questions, deeper. Oh, that sounds like a Southwest airplane. Shout out to anybody who lives near an airport. What?
How do you know what which brand airplane sounds like?
Oh, I just wanted to tag Southwest on our episode.
Oh, you are ridiculous.
I'm all out. Fucking marketing the shit out of this episode today.
Please stop.
Anyway, sorry. So essentially, they use this game to get to know each other better. And Emily and I got a lot of questions in early episodes about our relationship. And we thought this was kind of the best way to not only share information about us, but give more and things we wouldn't even be thinking about to provide, right? Mm-hmm. So Emily has a really hard time with this.
I do.
She tries to pick the card beforehand. I usually catch her. I actually caught her on the last episode, so I highly recommend you take a look at that. And today I did make sure that the stack was freshly shuffled, and I've been watching her the entire time. So with that being said, our second round of the deep card is...
If you were to brag about your partner to your friends, what would you say?
Do you want me to go first, or would you like to go first?
You go.
Wow, you got to posture this answer? It's not even just on the top of your head?
I don't have to posture it.
There's 8 billion people in this world, and it is the ability, especially nowadays with social media and just life in general and society the way it is, I think finding a partner that you are going to be not only with, but be successful with in life is incredibly hard. I think there's a lot of people out there, and I've been doing a ton of research on just marriages and relationships in general, because I want to be more knowledgeable for the show. And, they're seeing declines in long lasting relationships that go into marriage. Doesn't mean there's not long lasting relationships, but I think there's a reason for that. And I think one of them is it is really difficult in this world where everything has to be shared to have something that's just with you and that person. And I think you're insanely lucky if you truly feel like 100% deep down, you found that partner. And I think that finding that type of partner means so many things, but they have to be a jack of all trades. And if I were going to give you a compliment or say what I like most, it's everything. And I think it's because when we came into this relationship, there's so many things that I think, and I don't want to sound like judgmental because it's not, but there's so many things that 10 years ago, I would have thought, oh, that's probably an American Airlines. Maybe Delta. There's so many things that would have been something I would have been like, oh, that's not in her wheelhouse of things. And you are a person who, no matter what, as we have gone through life, have gotten consistently better about every aspect of being a human being. And most of the time, I'm in complete awe of that, because I do think it's incredibly hard for people to change. And I'm very proud that I'm with somebody that is constantly always trying to be the best they can be. And that's a huge thing for me. And I didn't realize it was a huge thing for me. You helped me realize that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now let's hear your prepared response.
It's not prepared, but I think I told you this the other day. I think you are an amazing dad. You meet our kids where they are individually.
I can be a lot better dad. I'm pretty hard on them.
We could all be better at something, but where I falter in parenting and get super frustrated, you have a way to either calm me down or rein me in and do that with the kids too. So
yeah, I tell you to stop it with your fresh mouth.
You don't speak to me that way. Don't act like you do.
But your mouth does get a little fresh sometimes. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I appreciate what you're saying right now. I'm sorry.
I just think you have a really good sense of level-headedness to yourself sometimes.
Try. It helps when you're upset. I'll be honest. I hate saying that, but normally if you're
when
out of sorts,
everybody else is going crazy, you calm down.
I think that's a mental health issue in me, right? If things are great, then I'm sitting in my thoughts. If things aren't well, man, I'm on it. I'm on point. I'm not thinking about those things, and I can focus in a way that I typically can't. Not saying I can't, it sounds like I'm being hard on myself. I'm not. I'm just saying that's the reality.
Yeah.
I can handle chaos and problems well when other people are stressed by them.
Yeah. And that's...
It's really fucked up now that I just said that out loud.
I don't think so, because when I get frazzled, I need somebody to be that calm. So I appreciate that that's you for me.
It's a shitty thing to think or realize, I guess, as we do that. But yeah, no, it's a good point. And especially morning time. I know that's a stress for you because we're always running late. Not late, but we're always right against the time. Hey, we don't have to be there. Our kids
have your time
7:45
management. Seamus has my time management.
Yeah, he gets pissed.
He does.
Hey, I got Iowa test today, motherfuckers.
Which I get very frazzled. I don't like being late. You are time is not important. where
it's not that it's not important. I'm just
like,
not going to ruin my day for being 5 minutes late. I see so many people on the road, Berry Road, I-29, 152. They're just being horrible to people because they're late, which it's their own fault. So number one, right there, if we're late, it's not anybody else's responsibility but us.
Oh my gosh, go down.
So why would we aggressively
71
drive? Well, I know that's what I'm saying.
And you're
people are
gonna,
terrible to each other. And
risk your life trying to get to work.
Yeah, and you're starting off your day in a negative spot. And guys, I say this as somebody who has done that. So I'm not saying it like I'm this perfect person who's just always been able to handle this. I'm just saying the older I get, Jesus Christ, if you're late, you're late. Don't ruin other people's day and don't ruin your own. It's just insane how people act. But to your point, it's just, if we're going to be a minute late, the kid's day of school will not be ruined. I think it just tends, sometimes we worry about the optics of things rather than is this actually causing harm.
Yeah, I don't like to be late.
Tell you what, kids' school, you can send us letters about them being late all you want.
No, stop. See,
we're going to try our best to get on time. What? You didn't think I was going? What do you think I was going to do?
I don't know, but you're just in a.
Do we not try our best to get on time?
You're in a mood today.
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's probably annoying you.
I'm very
I can see it in your eyes.
I'm over it.
No love making in the Miller household tonight, guys.
And I will say, stop it.
Speaking of research, just a quick sidebar here. Did you know, relationship experts and people are saying foreplay actually is something that is an all-day thing. Meaning, tip. This is something I've learned. Like if you want to sleep with your partner, if you want to have an intimate time with your partner, it is not just about the 20 minutes leading up to that after you get the kids to bed. And I don't know why this was eye-opening for me, but you really have to be mindful about how you are nurturing getting to that point throughout the entire day. It was really interesting. They did a study on that. That was just really interesting. It isn't all. It's an all, and it shouldn't just be the day that you want to have sex. Okay, well, you know what? There's been plenty of days, lady, where I'm sure you've wanted this sweet bod, and you haven't been the nicest to me, and I'm going to remember that. Don't be trying to kiss on my neck in the middle of the night when you've been rough with me, because I'll probably wait 2 or 3 minutes before I respond. And then another 2 or 3 minutes later, you can roll over nap time.
Okay, are you done?
I'm done. Where were we?
We need to move on.
We met in the middle. I'm good with the kids. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
you're great at everything, and I love you so much, and you're the best partner of all time.
We are moving on.
Sean, you're good with the kids, and you only make love to me for 3 minutes at a time. That's how we did it.
I can't.
See, the audience is getting to know us in a very intimate way.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm over this.
Well, now it's time to transition into something even more fun to talk about. But before we do that, much like Emily and I are going to be talking about working on our relationship and bringing it to the most optimal place, for you to have the most optimal real estate experience possible if you're buying or selling your home, there is none other person better than getting with Miss Kansas City Kylie Willis. Yeah. You can reach her on Instagram to look at houses in the Kansas City, Missouri, or the Kansas or Missouri area, I should say. She goes all over the place there. Yep. At Kansas City Kylie on Instagram, or you can go to kansascitykylie.com. And we just found out yesterday via a post from the at Kansas City Kylie that she will be featured in a docuseries show or reality TV show about real estate agents. What's the name of the show?
American Dream.
American Dream. So make sure you can go and watch it, and then make sure she helps you buy or sell your home. You will not regret it. That is a do we have to guarantee, or we'll pay you your money back.
There's no.
Yeah, the joke's on you guys. We have no money.
This show does not bring income.
But if she does help you buy or sell your home, let her know you heard about us on the show, and then also then we helped you 100% legally.
No, we can't.
That's how it works.
Legally, we have nothing to offer anyone.
Well, right. If it doesn't work out, legally we don't have
nothing to give anyone.
If it doesn't work out,
we are not medical professionals. We are not
liable.
Legal professionals. We are clearly two insane people.
If it works out, it was all legal. So
I can't.
We left off last episode.
What is your deal today?
I don't know. I only had one coffee. It was just Dutch Brothers. It's not like they put a ton of caffeine in it, but I don't know. I'm feeling like we're getting out of this funk of we're getting through. We just got through daylight savings time finally. Like I feel like we finally adjusted from that. Getting away from seasonal depression season. Things are getting nicer outside.
Yeah, the sun did come out today.
Draft's coming up. I'm feeling pretty good about.
It's April.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good things happening. Baseball start. I just feel like and I feel like a lot of people probably are coming out of a fog a little bit. I think I'm starting to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So previously on Do We Have To, Sean and Emily were experiencing tremendous relationship turmoil, which was leading them to the ultimate question: should we continue this experiment known as marriage?
Enough with the crazy eyes. But yes, you were going through some mental health stuff. I was going through some clearly mental health and physical postpartum.
Even today, it's like there's a bit of discomfort of saying it.
Yeah.
And it's okay. No, I think it's great. It's good because you do acknowledge that. Like, I know that was just a really hard thing for you. And I think that was part of some of the issues we had, right? You know
I was not being a supportive wife. I was not being a supportive friend. I was not being
I didn't mean it like that.
No, but I mean, like, I was not in a good spot when you were not in a good spot. And I continued to go down my own rabbit hole of, I don't know, like disillusion that everything was just going to be okay one day.
Yeah. I do think that I think you did the best you could with what we were doing at the time. I do think there was 3 main things that we weren't doing well. And you guys can go back to the other episode and listen because I don't want to give you a whole diatribe of a recap. But the 3 areas that we weren't doing well in that I think also we're going to talk about how we kind of pivoted on. Number 1 was communication. That was pretty much non-existent. It was more about like how to deal with the other person rather than actually communicating how we're feeling and then coming together as partners and making a decision on how best to use for it. That was a problem right there and a foundational issue. And the second one was self-care. Both her and I, physically and mentally, and I almost want to put mental health as a separate one, but like physically and mentally, we just weren't doing the best things to be our most optimal selves. And all of that bleeds into how we communicate to each other, how we handle problems. And then the third thing was the problem itself. We were being hard on the person. We weren't being hard on the problem. And I think the best thing we've ever started shifting to is when we run into problems, we're hard on the problem and we're soft on the person.
Yeah.
Meaning that 9 times out of 10, there's some sort of positive intent, or not, I would say for us, you and me, 10 out of 10 times for the majority of it, there's positive intent, but mistakes happen, whether it's a knowing mistake or not. And I'd rather go after the problem and figure it out together than be hard on you for a problem happening or vice versa. And I think it was when we started making those shifts, then we started heading up in the right direction.
Yeah.
But that could not have happened. We got very lucky that a young man in the Kansas City, Missouri area decided that this gentleman that walked into a QT that was barely paying attention walks by me. I actually got out of his way and said, "Excuse me." He got right into my car because I was just running in really quick. And it is the Midwest, so I know there's other people out there that are like me that leave their car running. It was a cold, rainy night. I literally went in to grab a drink and would come out, and it was like right in front of the door. In my mind, I'm like, that's no problem. I can do that really quick. Yeah. Guy comes through, walks right by me, gets in the car, drives off. Problem with that is, huge problem with Spirit Airline.
Goodness.
Problem with that is, there's a lot of planes going over our fucking house today. Problem with that is, I don't think you had anything to do with the flight pattern. It just happens to be today.
Did.
There's a lot of
I
planes
made the schedule tonight,
right.
And that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Essentially, what had happened was when he took that car, he also had our garage opener.
Yep.
There's paperwork in the car that has our address on it. So essentially, they know where we live and they have access to get in our home. Yep. So first things first, speaking of being hard on the problem and soft on the person, you were, I thought, considering everything that had been going on, I kind of thought that would be the straw that broke the camel's back in regards to you're like, this person I'm not going to deal with anymore. I thought for sure. But sure enough, you were actually fairly kind, I thought, and understanding given what was going on with us in our relationship at the time. It was fairly volatile. I thought you were really kind about it. And then the problem was what we focused on. It was like, how do we do this? And I think it was when we came together and it's like, hey, we need to take care of the garage. We got to get that changed out. We got to get all the locks changed out. Mm-hmm. And our brother-in-law helped us do that too. And, and your grandpa. And we just focused on that. And all of a sudden we solved a problem together. And I don't think that occurred to us at the time. I'm just thinking that out loud while we're talking about it, but we did. That was a win for us together as a couple. And then we had the conversation, right, where I don't know what your perspective was at the time, but you didn't want to be at the house by yourself.
No, I didn't. I didn't feel safe without you there beforehand. I didn't feel safe without you there after that, especially. But I also knew that we weren't going to get anywhere without you being home. So it was kind of like divine intervention, because it was like, well, of course you have to come home now. So,
which I was shocked by, to be honest. I did not think you'd want me home. It was definitely a huge shift. So then all of a sudden I was able to start focusing on, I don't know, I just think everything kind of picked up from there.
Well, there was like one day where we just kind of, I don't know, we kind of just like laid it all out there.
Yep.
And
to your point,
we decided to go to church.
Communication started being better.
I really wanted to go back to, we kind of stepped away from the parish, and I wanted to go back to church. And I really thought that, like, we were still practicing Catholics, but at the time we didn't go to church every weekend. It was kind of like when we had time. And I felt like if we were going to start working on our relationship, we needed to get that foundation back together, which is, our faith. And so we had a therapy session with our priest, and you weren't really too keen on it.
I just didn't think it was going to work. Just not because I was against it in the sense of like, I didn't want nothing to do with the priest talking to me about that stuff. I just didn't think that was in their wheelhouse of things that they would be able to counsel us on really well. And I couldn't have been more than wrong. So, I mean, if you're not a religious person, that's absolutely fine, because there's the counseling and the therapy with it. However, if you are a person of spirit, if you are associated with the organized religion, they have, a pastor or a priest that is willing to meet with you. It's what is it going to hurt? At least go and give it a try. And then, hey, if this isn't somebody you're really comfortable counseling you based on the information or feedback you get, then you move on to the therapeutic process. But it was a stepping stone that I at the time, I was blown away. Father Joe was fantastic with us. He was really I was really worried about judgment more than actual getting feedback that would be helpful. And it was all feedback about how we can come back together as a couple and how we can utilize our faith in combination with all the other modern means, which was another thing I thought they wouldn't mention, to get back into a better spot. And they invited us to go to an event that they had at church, that one of the members of our parish, his father, committed suicide. And he talked about, it was almost like a victim statement. Not a victim statement, that's the wrong way to say it. But you know what I mean? Like somebody who experienced this in such a negative way. And it was earth-shatteringly, I mean, like I've heard people talk about it before, but I thought he did a good job as far as explaining that.
I mean, I did and I didn't.
Oh, it's fine. But that's different.
Yeah. That's topics for a different day, I think. But for me, I needed to have not permission, but I needed to know that I was still welcome in God's home if this didn't work, and if it did, and what that looked like as a Christian person.
Oh, so you were still had a backup plan of checking out?
No, not really. I just feel like, there was a lot of work that was going to need to happen, and I wanted to know what that looked like within the eyes of the church.
Yeah.
And I really was, like, it wasn't just you and me anymore. It was you, me, and we had kids.
That's the other thing too, for sure.
And so it was like, how do we handle this as partners? But then also, how do we handle it as parents?
Yeah.
And if I'm going to raise my kids in this parish, in this school, like, where do I go from here?
Right.
And how do I use my faith and what I know and what I believe, and use it to not really just move forward, but how do I forgive the past? Because there was more than just what you went through of my past that I still needed to get through. And so for me, it was like the turning point of learning how to pray for you and learning how to pray for our kids. And it wasn't just like saying a prayer, like it was intentional and it was like thought out and it was purposeful and it was true prayer meditation that I learned through that process. And so I had other conversations with Father Joe and other priests within our parish outside of you. And I took those into our individual therapy sessions and our couples therapy that we were involved in at the same time. And so for me, it really was like a need to be, it was allowing myself to have permission to be the faith leader, which I didn't think I wanted to be or needed to be or could be at the time. But going through this process and knowing how much it means to me and expecting you to be that person was wrong.
Well, it wasn't my wheelhouse of things to do, even if whatever, my faith is my faith, and I'm a Catholic, but like being the leader of our family within the parish and the process of being a Catholic family, you've always been that leader. And I think it's unfortunate that, well, I know, but it did, and that's just communication. That's not us talking through these things and like, hey, I think it's not that it's less important to me, but I know that you have this ingrained within you in a way that I think is much more useful to our family for you to be the leader than it is for me. And we never had that conversation. No. So instead, I felt like you put all this pressure on me to be something I'm not. Mm-hmm. And you were resentful, I think, of the fact that I wasn't being this, and that I felt probably like you probably had your hands tied, like I should be doing this. And
I think we both held a lot of resentment towards each other for roles that we were either playing or not playing, or expected somebody to play, but really didn't know how to communicate that to each other.
Yeah,
and
huge communication issues.
They led us to create boundaries. And boundaries are not fences that you can't cross over and like never intertwine.
They're evolving for sure.
It's a definitely revolving door, but it's also, there are spots within each boundary to have a bridge connect to a different category. Well, we learned that through therapy.
It's more of a sign that says, hey, you're going to an area that it's probably, you need to be advised. There needs to be advisable. Like you need to be thoughtful about what you're doing before you do
There
it.
is a
it's
set
not
of
a wall
rules
that's separating from the person. It is, hey, when you're talking about this, or it has been communicated, it has been solidified that this is how I feel. Mm-hmm. Be fucking respectful of that.
Right.
That's really what a boundary is. I think when people hear boundaries, it's like, hey,
can't cross.
I'm not dealing with you.
Not touching it. Yeah.
No, it's not that. This is how I feel about something.
Proceed with caution.
let's be respectful to each other, especially when we get into that, and vice versa. It's not just when you set up a boundary, you treat that person in that same manner as well, and you respect their boundaries. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
we did a lot of work setting boundaries, and
I think it prepared us better for the therapeutic process, just because that started opening up conversations where your guard then went down. It was like night and day difference when we had that kind of like epiphany moment where it was, yes, we're gonna get back into making sure that we're being better parents and better partners with our faith, and also you're gonna take the leadership role because
it's
that's
almost like confession. It did to me what confession did. Therapy to me is very much the same as the sacrament of confession.
And you have a third party that's non-objective.
Yeah.
Only difference is you don't have to say a bunch of Hail Marys after you get done with therapy. You can get to go get a coffee.
Yeah, but I mean...
Shout out Father Joe.
I think at the same time, like, it's very healing. It's a very healing process just for you as an individual and then as a couple.
Being able to communicate things that you feel either have been wronged by you, you've done wrong, and being able to get that out and just being able to then start processing through it and healing, regardless whether it happens in a church, in a therapy room, or to your partner, is a huge thing. And you will not have, I think for us at least, so I'm assuming other people will be this way too, you won't have the most optimal relationship till you can get to a point of doing that. Right. And I think us then going to therapy, then we're learning about, and I highly recommend this, guys, because it was things that I was not comfortable complaining about initially. And then when I say complaining about, hey, these are things like where I don't feel like you're doing a good job as a partner, supporting me in. And it was dumb to me. What I thought was dumb things.
Petty little things, but every petty little thing adds up to something.
I just think that anything, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't a little thing.
Like, no, I know, but I mean, like to outside looking in, it seems petty.
So anything that stop, I guess, just don't be worried about what somebody, especially your partner of all people, is going to think about that. If you present a problem, you got to start having the attitude of it's our problem. And like we talked about, I didn't think you were supportive of me the way I love movies. And it was always something that bothered me. Like we talked about every little nook and cranny issue that we had compartmentalized and been resentful of or moved away, from the smallest of things to the biggest of things. And it was well over a year worth of work. Oh, and I think, and it's still ongoing. The difference is that now we have kids that we have to help take care of from a mental hygiene perspective. And then all of a sudden you start taking resources and you're applying it to that. Not so much. I do think we should still go to counseling.
Well, I mean, we check in with Heidi every 6 months or so.
Yeah, but we haven't done that in a while. I think
I do.
Okay, well, I haven't. Oh. So that's better. Then that's on me. Like I need to be better about that. You know what I mean? But like the point is that we initially opened up those lines of communication. We did that in multiple ways. We got through we got into the therapeutic process, and then we just started breaking down everything. There was no limits off of things. We talked about everything that usually would end in a fight, and we had a third party there to stop us if something got heated and be able to explain that in a way. That's what's so huge about it, is having somebody who's not on one person's side. You're not trying to win an argument. You're trying to get to common ground and then move forward with how are you going to behave to each other when it comes to these topics and items in the future. Yeah.
And like for me, part of it was doing the EMDR therapy on my own.
Me too. I did that as well.
Because it worked through past traumas, but then it worked through the one that we went through together. And so it completely it reset my whole brain, I think, and my way to handle things. Or else if I hadn't done EMDR therapy, I don't think what happened in a year ago I would have been able to handle.
Sure. And I think, so what Emily's talking about, this process called EMDR, there's many methods of things you can do to help you process through your problems. But what this does is when we did it, it was you're holding two, you're holding a little bar that buzzes in your hand, and it goes to different hands. And what it's doing is it's reacting or causing one side of your brain to activate. Yeah. And then you talk through things that have created, that are traumatic, or when you're anxious or feeling depressed that you're thinking about, but you can't quite get through to the point where you're feeling okay to talk about it. Right. And it helps you process those.
Yeah. And I had started that right after my younger sister passed away, but I didn't like it at that time. So I stopped doing it. And then after your experience, I did it again, and it was life-changing. I probably should have stayed in it after my sister
Well, I think that's something you can just consistently do. It's nothing that you need to take a break from or anything like that. That's something you constantly can do. And I would recommend you do it with therapists, because I imagine you could probably purchase those things no problem and go through.
I don't know how you can do that on your own.
I don't think it's like a doctor tool. I do think it needs to be guided, because there is somebody there keeping you on point and helping you process through those. So I would highly recommend that.
And the things that it brings up are so deep down hidden that it's amazing.
And then the physical, so we're talking a ton about the mental and the communication, but then there was the physical, which that was probably third priority at the time. Mm-hmm. And then we went into maybe a year after we kind of got through that. We were back in a better spot. We're obviously going to stay together, and we're still working through things. I go to get a colonoscopy because my mom passed away from colon cancer, so I've got to get one every few years. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing that since I was 30. And I coded on the table because I was so big.
A routine, random colonoscopy.
Yep, I was so big that my air pathway closed, and I'd been using a CPAP at that time, but I don't have air force through me, and they didn't realize it until I was blue. And then they got me. Then I ended up getting a horrible asphyxiation pneumonia or whatever it's called, right? And was in the hospital for
a really long time.
A week for that, right?
Yeah. A couple weeks.
Yeah. And so anyway, dealing with that. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting though. The way we handled those things, there was a night and day difference how we would have handled that though previously with health issue like that. Mm-hmm. Because the doctor even said, you've got to get this weight off of you.
Yeah, they said
I really recommend you do weight loss surgery. And that was something before we talked about that a couple years prior. And you were like that's not. Cosmetic surgery. Yeah. I don't feel comfortable with that. Not saying I couldn't do it, but you're like, I'm not going to do anything like that. And
right.
They had always come to us and said, you'll likely be more successful if you do it together.
They did. Well, so like when you coded and they finally told me what happened, but I wasn't allowed to go see you because you weren't really awake yet. So they told me what happened, and I was in the waiting room, and I don't know. Here I was thinking I was going to lose you again. And then when you were awake and we were together, they were like, if you don't lose like 100 pounds, like now, you won't see 40. Mm-hmm. You were 39. Like you had just turned 39.
When we did
this, or 38. You were 38. Sorry.
We got the surgery almost 3 years ago in June. So I would have been 37. I'm 38. Yeah, you're right. 38. You're right. Right. After we got the surgery.
And so, it was just like, well,
But again,
can't.
Were we hard on each other? Or were we hard on the problem?
We were hard on the problem.
We fucking attacked it because we started.
So we went to every doctor
stuff,
we
but
could.
We did already start the process.
Yes.
Of like, we're going to do both.
And then when we went to your appointment, they asked me if I'd ever considered. I was like, no, I'm not at risk for anything. I'm not a problem. It's Sean. And then they were like,
you have high blood pressure.
Yeah, they like
read really high cortisol levels.
You read everything, and I was like,
overweight. Oh, and all your blood
like I knew I was
off.
big, but I didn't realize I was that big. If that makes sense.
Well, no, it's not even about being big. Your body was saying,
no, I know.
Hey,
my body was just as sick as yours.
You're not healthy.
And so when we made the decision to do it together, we did, the therapy for that too. And so it was like we needed to make decisions not just for one person or the other. It was clear that every decision we need to make going forward needed to be about us as a couple.
Yeah, we were attacking everything.
We had to do everything together or none of this at all.
Yeah.
And that was a complete mindset change that didn't happen if we didn't go through what we went through.
And it seems like it's so simple, or we're telling you something we know, but it takes a lot of, like, at least for us, it takes a lot of work to do that consistently. Because you still have times, especially when we were younger, where you'd fall into those old, woe is me, and separate away for a minute and start being only worried about yourself or not thinking through how is this going to affect everybody, right? And that's something we consistently, just over a period of time, I think have gotten better at and better at and better at. And that's why anytime something is thrown our way, whether it's something we've done self-inflicted or because we're humans, we make mistakes, we mess up, or it's stuff that's just like unexpected things that we run into, unexpected problems that are outside of our control. Like we are hard on the problem now, not on the person.
Yeah. And I think that's the only thing that saved us last year. And
then we got on our weight loss journey. And then, in that weight loss journey, that was helpful. But
Absolutely.
then, to Emily's point, and I think we have enough time, I gotten to the point again, there was a lot of things happening. We were dealing with stuff with Tegan. We were dealing with stuff with just life in general, finances. And it was, to me, it seemed like an insurmountable amount of pressure. All of a sudden, everything was working fine with my medicine. All of a sudden, that just stopped, and we were attacking the problem. We were doing everything we could do.
Yes.
But I still
we were very, very much on top of everything as fast as we possibly could go, depending on other people to help us out as well. Like medically, we could only move as fast as they were letting us.
Yeah. But even then, I started to succumb to suicidal ideations, and it got to the point where, and I was trying to do everything I could as far as like having somebody that I could communicate with from a female perspective, a male perspective. When I was feeling terrible, I wouldn't just sit home. Like there was one day I drove to your dad's, and I was like, I don't know how I get out. I don't want to do this. I don't know how I get out of this. I feel like I'm going to kill myself. And I don't know what to do. We're doing everything we can do, and it's still not working. Exercising, losing weight, taking all the medicine, going to the therapy appointment, and all of a sudden, why is it not working all of a sudden? It was deflating. And I'm like, okay, this is now this is it. And this is in the sense of like, the proof is there. Nothing is working. now eventually, when are you going to be that mess you were and I got more scared of being that than I realized what was happening and that I could get through it, and I had I texted Colin, and because him and me had been talking a ton. He was really besides your dad, he was that male person that I was, expressing what was going on and trying to get through. And he was trying to be helpful. And I told him, I said, I'm going to throw myself off the house, and you need to make sure Emily and the kids don't come, and you need to come and get me, or you need to come take care of it. Like, I need you to do this for me as my best friend. And sure enough, go up and you're trying to take the window off, and he calls you, he gets you here. And instead of you being mad, you're just trying to talk through and process it. And sure enough, it was an about face, in the sense of, I make it sound like that. We were able to get away from that really quickly. Yeah. And we were able to solve that. Not saying we shouldn't have gone to the doctor or something, but we were able to resolve that without having to go into the hospital again and those sorts of things. We were able to get through that moment, realize what it was. I was able to ground myself again. Colin, meanwhile, does all this research, and this is just saying who he is as a human being and a friend. He does all this research. He figures out that there's an experimental treatment, ketamine, which I hate that it's associated with Elon Musk now. So I didn't know that. It apparently he takes it too. But there's all these companies out here. The one I use particularly is called Joyous. They give you micro-dosed amount of ketamine. You go and you meditate, you process through your problems, very similar to EMDR if you're interested in how the process works. And what that does is it helps create new neural pathways for you. And so you're able to process. Does not mean these things go away. It just means when they happen, you can take them head on. It is not this debilitating thing. You're able to process through them. So I still have anxiety. I still have depression. I'm able to do it. You do have so through Joyous, you get a nurse practitioner. There's a whole process to it. So to me, it's very safe. I recommend it. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but it did work for me. And I went from taking 4 different kinds of medicines. I guess I have anti-anxiety medicine I take every once in a while, but I don't take any medicine regularly. I rarely take medicine for mental health now.
That was kind of the caveat. It was you had to detox and start. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm able to do better now and manage better. And that's not an indictment on medicine. So don't take it that way. Medicine can save lives, marriages, jobs. Do it. Go through the process. All I'm saying is that this seems like this is a very viable method because this is the best I've ever felt. This is the least I've ever had difficulty processing through any issues. And I feel like when new ones come in, I can worry about it. I do it, but I know that it's momentary in time. I'm able to process through it. I'm just able to deal with the pain associated with having a mental health episode, I guess is the best way to say it, right? And I owe that to Colin, Schmedium Maskell. And he will always be a brother to me for being there for me when I needed it the most. And he did something that, most people in this world, if you're not family or what I don't know, most people in this world aren't 100% going to do everything they can for you. And I feel very confident that he did that for me and for our family. And I'm the best. Well, I'm very proud that we are doing this show together, the three of us. It means a lot to me. He probably doesn't realize that, but it means a lot to me because I would be here. I do feel like I would be here regardless. We would have gotten through that. But would we have other hiccups, other episodes?
Probably.
Possibly. Obviously for me, the traditional method of getting medicine and getting diagnosed, that's been a struggle. I think doctors have had a hard time dealing with it. I haven't really had anything that's worked. It's the first time something's worked, Yeah. And I still once a week, I take a small, what they call it, half troch or whatever it's called. And
I don't know what they call it.
I meditate,
but
and it's just you're able to function.
Is.
You're able to function on it. You can do your job on it. You can try. You don't have to. It's not it's not even like taking anti-anxiety because anti-anxiety make you tired and want to fall asleep. This, depending on the dose you're taking, I guess it could, but for me, it's a very minimal dose that I'm able to function on. And I am consistently just in what I call mental flossing, on a regular basis. And I have the same problems. I know I'll be laying in bed. I have the same intrusive thoughts, but I feel very confident that they'll never beat me ever again. So,
yeah.
Because
before that, I remember a therapy session where I stated out loud that I knew that's how I was going to lose you.
Yeah. I don't think you were wrong at a certain point in time.
I had to like come to that realization, and I had to be okay to say it out loud.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that way now.
Yeah.
I just,
it's okay you felt that way, because I think that's where we were training to, especially when we weren't at our best. And I will say, yeah, ultimately it's an individual thing in the sense of suicide, right? However, you got to understand now, hopefully you guys understand this, talking through this, there's a lot of ways you can get there, and there's a lot of ways you can get away from it. And your partner plays a huge role in that. And so, and again, if that's not in your wheelhouse, like nobody's a therapeutic expert. So that's why I'm saying, guys, like get out and go see somebody and talk through this, and just try to let your defensive down with at least the one person you're trying to share your life with. If you're going to let your defenses down with anybody, do that, because from somebody who used to keep them up and used to be guarded, when I did let them down, I was very thankful that I did. Yeah. And between you and Colin, you guys, helped me save my own life. You know what I mean? It's not it's a process. It's a community. It's a support process. And I will also say too, guys and women, men and women that are moms and parents and in relationships, brothers or sisters, it's not okay for you to suffer all the time.
No.
And it's okay to say you have a problem. And until you can do that, like just do that. Just get that out there. Write the problem down. That's halfway solved. We can make 10 million things, the reason why we're not feeling great, but ultimately there's an underlying problem that's causing this. And likely it's a combination of the things that we talk about. And until you're doing everything you can do, and even sometimes, as you heard, even when you are, you still are going to be dealing with it. So it is that communication. It is that mental health care. It's that physical health care. And it's how you attack problems. Are you being hard on the person you're a partner with, or hard on your friend, or are you being hard on the problem? And I think, guys, hopefully you take away from that, from what we went through, and hopefully that helps maybe pivot some ways. If you guys have any questions on that, you can reach out to us at www.dowehavето.com. Submit a question to the show, on any of these shorts, because, we're not doing it for clicks. It's not necessarily, I don't like putting out for the world to see that, hey, tried to kill myself once and then had real bad suicidal ideations another time and thought I was going to. It's not something I'm excited about talking about, but we're doing this because we want to help other people. I could give a fuck less if anything ever happens with this show. But if somebody hears, and guess what? I've gotten comments already. That happened to me at work. That happened to me once at work. I've been through that before. There's a lot of people out there hurting, and we just got to take a moment to be kind to ourselves and then try to help ourselves. What do you think?
I think
final thoughts on today's show.
I'm so incredibly grateful that you were brave enough to share your story. Because I know you're not the only one, and I know that we aren't the only couple that goes through something like this.
Nope. We lose mom and dads every fucking day. And sometimes it gets to the point and you've seen it, where they do even worse things and they involve their families or they take their kids with them. These things can be prevented. And we don't live in a society that is optimal to prevent that from happening. We have to do it within the family, within our friendships, within our circles. We have to be the ones to do it. We have to take action. And
I am forever grateful for Colin for doing a lot of the work with the medicine and helping you helping you be the person that you needed to have. The amount of times that he came over and just walked around the block with you and talked with you and
went to Parkville with me. We walked around the park.
Was that for you? And
his wife,
I'm incredibly grateful for him and for all of our friends and for, his wife, Katie, for letting us borrow him in that way all those times. Well,
I can tell you too, Katie, took phone calls from me, so did her sister Jess, I've had conversations. That's the thing, guys, too, is and I will say this to the people that who know I'm talking about them, the people that I care about, the people that I get excited about seeing this weekend to celebrate your birthday, for example, our family and our chosen family.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry that I wasn't doing everything I could do to be the most optimal person. And I'm sorry to myself. And I'm sorry to you, and I'm sorry to the kids most especially, both you and the kids most especially, because that's not what you deserve. And
it's not what you deserve either.
No, I agree. Right. You have to do it for yourself. Before you're doing it for anybody else, you have to do it for yourself. You're absolutely right.
And that's the shitty part about like all things, honestly, is it's not bias. Like medical issues and mental health
can
issues,
kill any
like
person, rich.
It can happen to anybody, anywhere, anytime.
You're a lead singer of a band. You're an actress. You're an actor. You're a millionaire.
You have it all. Like,
it doesn't
you
matter.
have nothing. You have everything. Like, I mean, it really does not care who
Nobody's
you are.
immune to it.
It can affect you. And it's just a really shitty thing that people have to go through. And I'm just really thankful that you're still here and you're still fighting, and that I know that no matter what happens here to forever, that you're going to fight.
Yeah. I tell you one thing. I don't know what's going to kill me, but it ain't going to be me. You know what I mean? And I can easily and confidently on air tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. So, yeah. I love you. I appreciate you. Here's the thing. Just as much as I was uncomfortable talking about this, our relationship stuff, because I know you take you feel like you have some sort of a bunch of responsibility. It was our responsibility. But I know that you don't feel comfortable talking about this either. But I do truly believe, hopefully some people will hear this and it's going to help them. And so I'm very proud of us for just getting outside of our comfort zone and having this conversation. Yeah. As hard as it was even to talk about writing for this show, I'm very proud of us for being able to do what we did. And to the Do We Have To crew, again, hey, there's resources out there. 988 is a suicide hotline, right? But then there's so many opportunities now for online mental health.
BetterHelp.com is a great resource.
Absolutely, guys. And like I mentioned, Joyous, right? But I know there's other providers out there for those types of treatments. But you can have access. You can even have chat access now to therapists. Yeah. There's really no excuse to not be able to try to find Seeking Health. And now go to your work provider too, guys. Your work provider, a lot of companies now have built into benefits seeing a therapist 5 times a year. I guarantee it. Just go and check it out. And if there's anything we can do to help, reach out to us, dowehavето.com. Yeah. Submit a question to the show. You can email us, dowehavetoPodcast@gmail.com. And then access us on our socials. Do you want to go over our socials? No, we don't have them in front of us, do we?
I don't. But we're on Facebook, Instagram,
Threads at do.we.have.to. Mm-hmm. We are on
TikTok.
YouTube. Oh, TikTok. Yep.
Instagram.
Do We Have To Pod?
I said that.
Yep.
Twitter.
Or X. Yep. Do We Have To Pod. And then also, obviously, the show is recorded and distributed on YouTube at Do We Have To Podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, guys, feel free to reach out to us.
And if you are local in Kansas City and you need some like actual local resources, if you're part of like Clay County, Platten, Jackson, Beacon, is a good resource. They have they're kind of like the health department for us.
Sure. In the Kansas City area.
In the Kansas City area, it's called Beacon. So you can reach out to them for resources. The 988 Children's Mercy.
Children's Mercy, a great one for kids.
Adolescent.
Yep.
They have some amazing resources and some amazing people who care beyond all measures for your children. Yeah. And I have yet to meet a therapist who, if you are going through a mental health crisis and they don't accept your health insurance, turn you away for not being able to afford their flat rate.
Well, they
will work with you. Yeah. So don't let cost be a deterrent, because there is always a way. So,
and let us help you with that. If you need help and you don't feel like you have anybody to help with, reach out to us. We can point you the right way, the right resources.
Feel like
we'll tell you what worked for us. That's all we can do. And but we do, guys, appreciate you. And thank you all so much for the feedback. I really hope that you guys, I hope it's useful. And just know that, hey, I'm sure on paper, I'm sure on outside, I'm sure a lot of people that have interacted with us, they would never thought in a million years that's something we were dealing with on a regular basis. It happens to I'm sure, more families than we like to realize.
Yeah.
So know we're there with you, and, keep up the good fight, do everything you can do. And again, be hard on the problem, not on the person. I think that if there's anything I've learned in the last couple of weeks as far as kind of talking through this stuff, that's probably the one that was the biggest for me, because all those other things kind of we were able then to work on them better. Yeah. And also, don't be an asshole. I love you, Rosemary.
I love you too.
Wake up, I'm about to shake up every little thing, show you all that we can be. Come dance in my club.